Greetings MBAP 516 online students. This is Professor Jaros with a video explanation for how I graded Exam 3. So let's take a look at question number 1. What three subsystems characterize any complex organization? What roles do they play? Explain. Well, this is a question that comes from the Thompson article. Thompson says that there are three subsystems, and they are the technical subsystem, the managerial subsystem, and the institutional subsystem, which characterize any complex organization. The technical subsystem is responsible for converting inputs into outputs. It takes the raw materials and converts them into the product that the company sells. The managerial subsystem is the administrative layer that oversees and supervises the technical subsystem. Its job is to acquire the inputs for the technical subsystem, tell the subsystem what to do with those inputs, and then once the technical subsystem creates products, the managerial subsystem's job is to dispose of that output in terms of selling the products in the market. The institutional subsystem is a subsystem that characterizes the executive level of management within a firm. The job of the institutional subsystem is to maintain good, productive relationships with entities outside of the organization, such as the market, competitors, trade associations, the government, and most importantly, the general public. It's the job of the institutional subsystem to maintain good standing for the organization in the surrounding social community. All right, let's look at question number 2. According to Blau and Scott, should a manager seek to eliminate all informal interactions that occur among their department subordinates? Explain. The answer to this question is no. And the reason is, as Blau and Scott explain, first of all, it's impossible to eliminate all informal interactions that occur among subordinates. As they explain it, informal interactions occur because organizational roles are occupied by human beings. And human beings, when they interact with each other, it's impossible to get them to interact purely on a technical, formal level. Anytime people interact with each other, even at work, there are going to be sentiments and feelings that develop, and those sentiments and feelings are going to be expressed informally. So if we were to ask managers to stamp out all informal interactions, we would be asking them to do the impossible. But there's another reason why they shouldn't try to do this as well, and that's because informal aspects of the organization can be very beneficial to the productivity and performance of the firm. In many cases, informal interactions among employees arise to make up for deficiencies in the formal rules and policies and procedures developed by the organization, such that if the employees only did what they were formally supposed to do on the job, the organization would not operate as effectively. So if the managers tried to stamp out all informal interactions, they could be damaging practices that have developed that actually make the organization run more smoothly. So those are the two reasons why the answer is no. Question 3. According to the proposed principles of management, should communication among employees within an organization be primarily written or verbal in nature? The answer, according to Fayol, is that primarily communication in an organization should be verbal or oral, spoken among employees, not written. And that's because oral or verbal communication has advantages. It's quicker, it's more efficient, it doesn't take as much time. And also, according to Fayol, when employees communicate in written form, because they can't understand like the body language and the inflection in people's voices, it's more prone to misunderstanding. specifically misunderstandings that can lead to conflict and a lack of harmony within organizations. So Fayol definitely argued that verbal communication is preferable to written communication. It's more efficient, it's quicker, and it promotes harmony and eliminates, or at least reduces, the possibility of misunderstanding when employees communicate with each other. All right, question number 4. According to Katz and Kahn, in what sense are organizations open systems? Define the concepts of negative entropy and equifinality. Well, organizations are open systems because an open system is a system that must interact with an environment. It must interact with an environment in 2 ways. On one end, it must acquire resources or inputs from the environment in order to survive. On the other end, it also must dispose. It must dispose of various things into the environment in order to survive. Like human beings, we're open systems. We're open systems because, we require things from our environment in order to survive. We require air and water and food and things like that. We can't generate those things inside of ourselves, okay? And then on the other end, we generate waste that we must somehow dispose into the environment, so to speak, ourselves. When we urinate or defecate or what have you, our bodies create waste that must be disposed of in the environment. Organizations are similar. Organizations require inputs or resources from the environment in order to carry out their business. And then while organizations don't defecate or urinate, they do create waste, like environmental waste that must be disposed of, and they create products and services that they need to sell out there in the environment, in the market, in order to survive. As far as negative entropy is concerned, negative entropy is a concept which means that an organization is acquiring enough resources and inputs to avoid entropy. Entropy meaning the tendency for all systems to degrade and decline and dissolve over time. Organizations fight off entropy and avoid it by bringing in inputs that replenish themselves. And that's how an organization is able to keep surviving even in the face of this constant threat of entropy. Equifinality simply means that there are many different paths to achieving success. There isn't one single strategy or tactic that an organization must use in order to be effective. There are many roads that lead to Rome, so to speak. There are many paths that could be taken. It's the manager's job to figure out the best road to success for a given organization. All right, I hope this explanation has been beneficial to you.